Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome back. Today we're deep diving into the Lexus IS200/IS300/Altezza rear upper camber arms, aka RUCAs. God damn, that was cultured. Now, recently we've been lucky to have a couple of IS chassis roll through the workshop lately, which gives us the opportunity to pull them apart and make some cool freaking parts. And as you can see on your screen, these RUCAs have all the coolness jammed into them with a fair bit going on, which we'll jump into shortly. Speaking of such things going on, to find out more information on these, please scoot on over to the product page on the website. We'll update that as often as possible with the latest hot gossip on said part, list all the tech specs, and have the ASM chillin' if you need a spare and a copy of this very video. So without further ado, let's jump right in, shall we? Now, traditionally, the first step in any install is to eyeball the OEM arms in despair like they owe you money, as they have been holding back your adjustment game this entire time. The next and actual practical, less immature step is to loosen and remove the bottom ball joint nut and give that knuckle a little love tap, which shocks the taper off its seat and releases said ball joint. Head inboard and loosen and remove the nuts that are securing the arm to the subframe, then go ahead and pop each bolt out from said nuts you just removed, which renders the arm loose and can be easily removed from said situation. Nice and easy. Now, with that out of the way, we can focus our attention to important things like the replacement Gktech arm and, more specifically, the adjustment side of things. Now, if you're setting it the OEM spec, you just need to keep this small button head bolt fitted. Yes, that little bolt lines up with the adjuster and keeps it in the OEM position automatically. You don't even need to think about it. But if you want to have some adjustability in your life or you like to party, you're going to want to remove that little button head bolt and loosen the main adjuster bolts off so it's got room to breathe. Then if you wanted to adjust from here, you'd simply need to wind the adjuster nut on the threaded rod, which will push the adjuster inwards or outwards to the desired location. Pretty neat, right? If you were to pump this B all the way outwards to the maximum safe length, it would measure in at around 10 millimeters from the center of the main bearing to the center of the locking bolt. If you were to wind this all the way in towards the minimum length, like we're conveniently and luxurious doing with our fancy adjuster right now, then it would measure in at 10 millimeters, measuring from the center of the main bearing to the center of the locking bolt. How freaking cool is that? And in our case, we're happy with the OEM specs, so we simply wind it back to the center and fit the button head bolt and tighten that thing down. Now, if you're setting it to the same specs as us, you can give the locking bolts a tighten down now. For good practice, we'll get to these later on with some good old-fashioned torque specs. Now from here, go ahead and flip the arm to the rear side so we can quickly drop a red-hot pro tip. For said red hot pro tip is to remember there are two different size inserts that we're using, like we're showing here on the screen. So you need to make sure the correct length is fitted to the correct side. Otherwise, said frustration and contemplation of life choices will consume you. Alright, now that the arm is complete, adjusted, and ready to rock, let's throw this thing back on the whip. Go ahead and slide that brand new and beautiful arm straight into its home, throwing the bolt through the inserts, then the washer and nut on. Then do the same for the other side, throwing that bolt through the guts with the washer and nut on. And my lord, I don't even know how we got this shot of the washer and nut going on, as there isn't much room up there. Props to DK on that one. Crikey. Anywho, leave them loose for now and slide that shank taper into the knuckle, winding on the washer and nut on the bottom. Then go ahead and throw a spanner for the Aussies, or wrench for the Americans, on the top bolt whilst putting some downwards pressure on the arm. This allows the taper to bite into the knuckle and stop it from moving. Then you can tighten and torque that bottom nut down to the spec shown right here on the screen. Now that that's tight, go on to the top bolt and remove it, as this little bad boy needs Loctite used, which by the way is super duper important, so do not forget this. So much so that we put a freaking sticky label on the arm so you don't forget. So please do not forget this. Inject some high quality thread sealant onto said top bolt, as you can see we're doing on the screen. Then go ahead and refit that to the shank and tighten and torque that little guy down to the specs shown here. Now you can head inboard and hold the bolt head on one side, then tighten and torque the nut down to the specs shown here as well. Then head to the other side and do the exact same thing to the exact same specs. Then finally, whilst the torque wrench is out and you're having a good time, go ahead and tighten the locking bolts down on the adjuster to the specs that are listed here on the screen. And guys, we freaking did it. That's it. That's all. We're done here, my dudes. You now have adjustable camber arms and can do a whole bunch of super fun adjustable camber activities with your real wheels with ease. Fantastic work. Speaking of fantastic work, these are the dudes doing God's work, throwing these videos together in rain, hail, or snow, possibly shine, to help you guys out with the installs and hopefully entertain you just a bit at the same time. Now, if you do get stuck, please reach out to a professional, as believe it or not, they can help. It's just expensive, because that random dude on TikTok probably doesn't know as well as professionals. If you got your phone out or you need to email us, you can do that. We're super duper active online and happy to help. This has been Officer Dan, Johnny Caps, and DK with another one of the world's best how-to videos. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.